Kris Krohn here with Limitless TV, and today we're talking about how to engage your audience. I'm going to share with you the 5 proven steps that I use for the first 5 minutes to create maximum engagement when public speaking. So the 5 steps for engaging your audience in the first 5 minutes is absolutely critical information if you're any type of presenter whatsoever and you want to have an engaging conversation with your audience. Before I can share that, I want to give you a little bonus today by just addressing what do you do before you take the stage? Because the mindset of how you feel before you step into those first 5 engaging minutes, I believe there's some preparation that needs to take place. And these are the 3 steps of preparation for that. The first one is, why are you there? Why are you about to speak to these people? Like, what's your why? What is driving you? And there's some people that have really small whys, which is like, my boss makes me, or, well, I want to get some positive accolades, or I want to make the world a better place, or I want to change the world. Okay, what is your why? If you connect for a moment with what that is before you take the stage, it'll help keep you more authentically connected energetically to the result that you want your words and your presentation to produce. The second thing I want to invite you to do is I want you to know your end result. Now, the end result means, what do you want to have happen at the end of the presentation? You need to start with the end in mind. When? Even before you take place. Why? Because just like an Olympic athlete, I've spent time with them. And before the show, before they even do their practice warm-ups, they sit down with their eyes closed and they experience everything they expect to happen. People that are masters of their trade do this. And for you as the speaker, you want to engage the audience, then you get to first of all see yourself engaging them successfully, the audience loosening up. You get to witness them approaching you, asking questions, being interactive, building on what you're saying, showing excitement, offering testimonial. I want to see all that. And I also want to know what the end result is. What's your CTA, call to action? Are you inviting them to have an appointment with you? Are you inviting them to simply live life happier and be better? Know what that is and carry that energy with you, both heart and mind, so that whatever your words are, your energy can match it. And that's a great fit for people wanting to know whether they should listen to you. The third thing that I do to prep before I get on stage is I've got my mental prep pump up. My mental prep pump up is what I do before I take the stage to make sure my energy is where I want it to be. For me, a lot of times when I'm speaking, I get to speak and use all my energy. I get to use a lot of physical energy. I get to use a lot of loud volume. I'm speaking in front of hundreds of people, and I want to give people my best. So what is the state of mind that will allow me to be my best? That's the question for you. Tony Robbins, before he comes from behind the curtain and steps on stage, this prolific speaker has a little trampoline. And what he'll do is he'll jump up and down on this little trampoline, he'll pump up his energy, he'll pump his arms in the air, and he'll get himself pumped for what he's about to do. Now that's his routine and that's what helps him. For you, it might be putting on a lucky pair of stance socks that have a really cool design on them. It might be calling up a coach and having a breakthrough, or it might be a mental visualization of witnessing what you expect to have happen. Whatever your pre-show looks like, have one. Because when you have that designed, it means that you're consciously deciding what it is that you really want to produce. Sometimes I'm sitting down with an audience and all I really want to do is get mellow and connect. So my mental prep up is different. It's not jumping up and down. My mental prep is actually connecting with the why and the energy that I want to transmit to these individuals in the most authentic manner that I can. I might remind myself of the moments in history or the stories that brought me to this moment, that I'm fulfilling something greater than me. So that's what it looks like for you to prep for ultimately engaging your audience. And if you're going to consider your why, if you're going to know the end, and if you're going to do your mental prep pump up, you're going to be all set for doing these 5 steps to maximum engage your audience in just the first 5 minutes. Now, I have promised you the formula, the 5 steps of how to engage your audience in the best and biggest way possible, and I'm gonna give it to you right now. You're gonna wanna write these down, and then you're gonna wanna practice them, because this is a formula for a reason. In fact, people have paid millions of dollars for me to teach them this information. Here's number 1. you got to start by knowing that it is time for you to show up authentic. That means you got to let us see who you really are. You've got to be willing to be vulnerable. It means you got to alter your privacy settings. There's a lot of people that only want to talk about the safe stuff and maybe other people's problems, when in reality, it's time to get real. And being real means vulnerable and honest. So when I say adjust your personal privacy settings, what I mean is there's a lot of things that you would never tell people that are actually good to tell them if you're a leader. And if you want to engage your audience, if you want them to be vulnerable, then you get to lead by what? You get to lead by example. So in the next 4 things I'm going to ask you to do, just remember, be vulnerable. And that can sometimes mean telling the hard stuff that you never thought would come out of your mouth because you want to keep it hidden. You don't want people to know about your hard moments in life and your sad moments and the parts that were hard or the things that you were scared of. But that's exactly what you do to engage an audience in the most real way. Number 1 is be authentic. Number 2, start off every presentation with 3 enrolling questions. These are 3 positive questions where the answer is yes. So an example of an enrolling question, a generic one would be, who's excited to be here today? And then I might say, by show of hands, how many of you are excited to be here today? That's my first enrolling question. If I'm going to be talking about the art of speaking and how to engage your audience, because we kind of are today, then I might say, and how many of you would be excited if today I could share with you the 5 ways to engage your audience in the best way possible? Can I hear some noise on that? And now all of a sudden I've invited them to go ahead and step up their game and now go from a safe hand position to get verbal with me. Both of them are positive answers. And then it's time to bring out enrolling question number 3. It needs to be a crescendo. It needs to be your biggest and brightest yet. And so it might be something like, and how many of you get on your feet and how many of you are ready to learn those 5 things right now? Now all of a sudden, I've got my 3 questions out there. I had them raise their hand, they got verbal, and now I'm standing and I'm getting a round of ovation. And guess what? I just took the stage for like 20 seconds. So you got to come out. You want to engage your audience. Step number 2, ask 3 engaging questions that will enroll them in saying, all right, I'm excited to learn from you. So you'll sit down and plan what those are. Here's the 3rd thing that you want to do. Introduce who you are. My name is Kris Krohn, and I'm an expert stage facilitator, and today I'm going to share with you XYZ. So you need to share them who you are, and you also get to establish your credibility of what you're an expert in. That's number 3 in engaging your audience so that they can start relating to you. Number 4, the real relatability comes in the 4th step where you're going to share a story. And I want you to start off vulnerable. I want you to share a story of what hasn't been working in your life. I want you to share with them a moment when you were down and out. I want you to share a moment when life just stinked. Stanked? Stunked. All right, so what is that story? And I'm looking for 2 minutes max, not very long. And I don't want you to tell them what happened when you came out of it. I just want you to relate with them and let them know, I get it, crap happens, it hits the fan. Life didn't work out so well for me. Here are the things that didn't measure up and didn't work for me. That's number 4. When you're done telling the story, though, you're going to swing into number 5. This is all happening in the first 5 minutes of engagement, where you get to step forth with your promise, which gets to be, and because of that story, I stand before you today, and I am going to teach and share with you the 5 ways to engage your audience in the most powerful way possible. Those are the 5 things that I do every single time I get in front of an audience. Let's review. And number 1, be authentic, meaning be real and let them see who you really are. Number 2, ask 3 enrolling questions. Get them excited. Number 3, introduce who you are and what you're an expert of. Number 4, share a story of what wasn't working. And then number 5, give them a promise. I'm going to demonstrate these all really quick in a condensed format in regards to something I talk about a lot on our Limitless TV channel, which is real estate investing. So I just got invited to the stage, and I might start off with, how many of you are excited to learn about real estate? Can I see a raise of hands? Excellent. And let me just know, how many of you know someone that has made a lot of money in real estate? Can I hear some noise on that one? And final question, how many of you would love to learn today a simple 3-step system for learning how to make money in real estate? Let's hear it. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Kris Krohn, and I'm an expert real estate investor. I've been investing for the last 10 years, and I've done nearly $1 billion worth of real estate. How many of you would like to learn from someone that has that level of track record? How many of you want to learn from some of my own pitfalls, some of my own trials, and some of my errors? And how many of you would like to learn what I'm doing today that is working better than anything I've ever done before? Aw, yeah. Okay, well, friends, before I get started, I just want to take a moment and share with you what life was like in real estate before there was real estate. You know, when my wife and we first got married, we had really big dreams. We had life all planned. I was going to be a doctor, going to school, and ultimately I was going to be a successful surgeon. And when I took my first chemistry class, I quickly found out that I did not have the aptitude, or at least it didn't come natural to me. And I don't know if any of you feel like you've ever worked really hard in a class before and didn't get what you wanted, but how many of you have ever felt disappointed when you kind of stunk it up? Well, I decided to retake the class. And on the second go around, I didn't get a C like before. I got a C minus. I remember talking to my advisor that told me to give up that dream and how hard that was. So I came home that day and I told my wife. And I was surprised that she wasn't as heartbroken over it as I was, but she was heartbroken over something different. We didn't have the money to pay the bills. We didn't have the money to pay for food in the cabinets. We didn't have the ability to cover tuition. And in that moment, I knew that I needed to do something. Something needed to change, or else I might financially struggle for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to be a doctor, and maybe I wouldn't be able to become my next dream or the dream after. But I committed that day that I would do something so I wouldn't have to face that personal pain of financially letting my family down. And friends, that's why I'm here with you today. And this is the promise I have. If you sit tight, get teachable, get open-minded, in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to share with you what I learned in real estate and how I retired just 4.5 years later after doing it. And I'm going to share with you the top 5 things you need to do to make real estate the most successful endeavor. By show of hands and by noise, can I hear how many of you are excited to learn about that today? All right. I heard you through there, okay? I just want you to know I felt your excitement. Okay. That was maybe 3 minutes. And what I did is I asked my 3 enrolling questions. I introduced myself as the expert, and then I had a chance to share with them a vulnerable story that is true from my past and to share a promise of what we're going to be going over. Friends, these are the 5 steps of how to engage your audience and light them up out the gate. Practice these steps and then rock it. If there are tips and tricks you have that you really like about public speaking, why don't you drop them in the comment box below and share with me and everyone else what you do as a speaker or as an up-and-coming speaker or as a pro to rock it and knock it out of the park. And don't forget to subscribe. See you later.